This couldn't happen again. This is that one. This couldn't happen again. This is that one.
Welcome. We are back another day in the market. Hope everybody's doing well. What's up, JG, Medi, Barosan, Matt G, Spiderweb, Simply Sung, Michael? How's everybody doing? You know the drill. Gonna talk about Bitcoin, then the market, then Clover, Lucid, Fisker, Trip, Ford, Plug, and we'll probably have time for tick requests tonight. So I know we haven't done them like the past 2 nights, but I think we should have enough time tonight, maybe for like 20-25 minutes. So yeah, hit that like button. Let's get into the stream. Starting off with Bitcoin. Still got that hit and bullish divergence on the daily, and it's actually at session highs right now. So nice bounce on Bitcoin, pretty much 3% bounce off of that same $40,000 area, really $41,000. And it's pushing up right now, so we'll see, how high this could run. It's just kind of in a range between 40,000 and like 46,000, but like we're literally watching it run. Like if I go to lower time frames, this is a 3-minute candle and it's up 1% in the last 3 minutes. So yeah, Bitcoin's making a nice move right now. We'll see how it looks later in the stream. Yeah, this is a 3-minute chart, but it might be trying to break out of this little resistance it's had for the past couple of days. So yeah, we'll see. It's like just testing this high from pretty much, I think, like this morning or something. But yeah, probably gonna talk about the market now. I'm just trying to see, there we go. I was trying to see if Bitcoin could just keep going while I'm talking. I don't know. It's a nice little candle we got here. It's still pushing higher. I mean, what's happening? On this candle, it just went up like $700. See if it can keep going. I just guess we got lucky with when I started the stream. But yeah, I mean, title of the stream is Major Indecision in the Market. We're going to get to everything shortly. It's just been a little bit of an interesting day, to say the least. We'll stop watching the 3-minute chart now, okay? Well, let's get over to the NASDAQ. Let's see what's up with that. On the NASDAQ, it actually had its lowest close pretty much since like August. Let's see. Pretty much since August 18th, this was the lowest close for the NASDAQ. It did close under last Monday's low and yesterday's low. So not a good place to close for the NASDAQ. If we look at the QQQ, it also slightly closed under a very important level, which is 360. It was your low on the 27th of July. It was your low on the 19th of August, and almost your low yesterday, and you closed under it today. So if you really zoom in, we did break key technical levels for the NASDAQ today. So that is interesting, but where's the indecision? Well, if we look at the S&P, we haven't even gotten close to Monday's low yet, or last Monday's low. So you see that the Nasdaq is definitely underperforming the S&P over the past few days. While the S&P still is red, but today the S&P was pretty much up 0.16%, while the Nasdaq was down 0.24%. So a little bit of a difference there, a little bit of divergence. In terms of like the overall technicals, I mean, on the Nasdaq itself, if this breakdown is real, there could be room to 14,200, but we'll see if it's real. You just broke under it. You still might need a couple more days for confirmation because you never know if it's a fake out or not. For the S&P 500, it's still just trying to hang on to this first zone that I have charted. If it really breaks this, then you got last Monday's low at like 4,300. If it breaks that, then maybe like the mid 4,200 area could be support for the S&P 500. That's also the golden retrace and a previous resistance and a support. Apart from large cap stocks, the ARK was the major underperformer today. While most of the market was flat, the ARK ETF, which tracks mid cap growth stocks, was down 2%. We talked about how it broke down last night on stream. It broke under that support it was holding since the middle of July. And yeah, this morning it actually even tested that support and flipped it into a resistance, and then it sold off into the close. And I think I talked about this last night. You know, if that breakdown was real, there's room to 109 on the ARK. I think I said those words last night, if not the night before, but I'm pretty sure I said that last night. And there you go, pretty much around that 109 area, which is kind of your next level of support. If that breaks, then you got 106 for the ARK ETF. Really nothing apart from that. And then finally, for the small caps, the Russell kind of closed like right at this upper demand line I have charted from these like 4 lows. So just kind of closed there. Also pretty much tested the 200-day moving average. Got a slight bounce off of that area, but the MACD did cross back over to red. VIX was down a few percent today, but still just kind of around where it closed yesterday. And the Dow Jones looks kind of similar to the Nasdaq, where it flipped a previous resistance or previous support into a resistance, and now it's pulling back again. But it's not retested Monday's low. So you can see on the Nasdaq, it actually did retest and break under last Monday's low. But the Dow Jones and the ARK actually did break it, but the Dow Jones, the Russell, and the S&P have not retested last Monday's low. So you are seeing a little bit of rotation, going on. And it's interesting to see. Right now, futures are green. You know, they're not super green, but up about 1/3% for the S&P and the Russell, up about 0.5% for the Nasdaq. So that's really what's going on with the market as of right now. I just think it's indecision. You know, we're in this area where we could be facing a technical breakdown, but we haven't really confirmed it yet. So I think just buyers and sellers are still just not sure about what's next. You know, a lot of the times, especially this whole entire year, we've just had a very clear uptrend, higher highs and higher lows, but now we're risking a lower high for the first time this year on the S&P 500. And I just think there might be a little bit of confusion there for a lot of people. You know, if the trend does shift, how much does the trend shift? If this is a fake out, when do we start bouncing? Like, just a lot of questions to be answered. I don't know the future, so I guess we'll see what will happen. But yeah, that's really it for the market. I mean, it's just indecision. I don't really have a clear bias right now. If you look at the Nasdaq and the QQQ, they did have bearish reaches of supports, but if you look at the S&P and the Russell, they really haven't done that yet. So just a little bit mixed, I guess. So yeah, let me see what's up in the chat for a second here, then we'll talk about CLOV. I think my tea is still too hot to drink it right now.
Can't sleep, can you? Well, I might as well tell you. Come on, let's get out from under the bed.
Let me skip this song.
Oh, is that all you think of, money?
I also think of you. Very often.
Maddie says we having more inflation issues as well. Dollar Tree went up 16% because of it, and they're raising prices due to inflation. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different things going on right now. Cheji says I just finished making tea. Yeah, that's why I was late tonight. I forgot to make tea, so I had to take like an extra 5 minutes out to make tea. Got some at $1. Got some dollar at 95. That reminds me of the dollar index, which is around 95. Broke out of this cup and handle as well. So you had a falling wedge breakout for the US dollar, that kind of turned into a cup and handle, and you just had your highest close since like a year ago today. So highest close on the US dollar in like a year. So that's interesting. I mean, it is right under historical resistance, to be fair, but definitely getting a momentum shift. It's just interesting to see. It's just not the same thing we've been seeing on this pullback, right? Not only is the dollar really starting to create this mini uptrend, but the VIX is also making higher lows instead of lower lows. So it's a little bit different, and I talked about that last night. So yeah. You said yesterday has to go down to finish that candle, the hidden bullish one. We're going to talk about CLOV. You actually got a little bit of a shift in divergence on Clover today because of the pullback, and I'll explain that a little bit further. I mean, overall for CLOV, in terms of technicals today, I'm going to get to it, but in terms of like just CLOV today, you lost some bullish technicals today, but you also started to create a few other things, which we're going to be talking about. So you kind of like switched out a few things. Pretty large difference from last night's stream, honestly. And I'll get to that in a second here. But yeah, it's actually interesting to see how quickly it changed on pretty much nothing. You know, flat day for the market, no bad news. I thought bullish technicals. I still do think bullish technicals, but again, just the price action right now is very different. I mean, that's just for the whole market in general. This really is an interesting time. You know, I'm looking at charts and I'm just seeing them act a lot differently than they have the whole entire year across the board. So yeah, let's see if my tea has cooled down. JG says I got lost looking at the 15-minute chart today on CLOV. CLOV did something a little bit different today, again on lower time frames as well. And I'm gonna explain everything. I don't want to keep on hinting at explaining things, and just give me like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm just trying to ease into things right now. Yeah, we could look at gold and oil before we look at CLOV, sure. I already have gold on my watch list. So gold's just been selling off. Even silver broke a very important level today. So it's like, you know, your dollar's going up, but metals are going down, market's going down. But look at this, silver broke an insanely important level today. This 21.95 level, it was a resistance from February of 2014, and it was your support pretty much for the last year. And silver broke that today. In terms of gold, it's kind of in between a support and resistance. I don't really see much of a pattern, maybe a little bit of a falling wedge if you go to the 4-hour and just chart like this. That's really all I would see. And then you also do have some 4-hour triple classic bullish divergence. But on the daily, it's a little bit 50-50 to me. And then you said oil as well. I don't even know what ticker to look at for oil. Crude oil futures, maybe? CL1. I'm just going to go with this. I don't know if that's the best way to look at oil, but light crude oil futures. Rounding bottom, not a cup and handle because you don't really have a handle yet. And you might never get one, but a little bit of a rounding bottom right over here. And look at this 77 level on CL1 light crude oil futures. 77 was a resistance in 2018. It was your resistance in July of this year, and it was your resistance like last week, or actually yesterday. What am I saying? So yeah, that's really what I got there. Let's go over to CLOV's chart. So should I just get right into it? I guess I could, but I don't know. I don't really see 30 likes on the stream yet, so I don't know if I could start until there's 30 likes. It's just, I would love to start, but I just don't think I can. Just doesn't feel right. Homeless Billionaire says net positive 2 days in a row in dark pool for CLOV. I don't look at the dark pools too much, but not surprising. I mean, I don't get it. It's just certain things I'm not getting right now. I'm gonna go over that like literally right now, but there we go. All I had to do was ask for some likes, and instead of 30 likes, we got 40 likes now. I mean, come on. But I'll stop annoying you all about hitting the like button. Let's talk about CLOV. So let me kind of summarize it, and then I'll go a little bit deeper into it. Last night on stream, we had a nice long talk about CLOV. which has not been too unfamiliar in the last month. And you know, we had the Back to the Future theme, and I was looking at the 2-day chart, which I'm going to look at in a second here. And I didn't call anything, but I just said my gut feeling is that we're kind of in this bottoming area for CLOV. That's what I said last night on stream. I said like 4 different times, it's not financial advice, it's just my feeling based on the chart. And I also said this is not about validation for me. If I'm wrong about CLOV bottoming like shortly, I'm wrong. You know, most people care more about me being right or wrong than I care about me being right or wrong. That's just not how I trade. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people on the internet that teach, you know, that you need to be right all the time, and it's all about calling things and calling the exact bottom and top. I could care less about getting that validation. For me, it's just about risk management and using probability. That's really what it is for me. But I did say last night on stream that I think we're kind of bottoming. I also did say last night on stream that it might not be tomorrow or the day after, but I just think soon. We're in this area where it looks similar to the past, which is why we had that Back to the Future theme last night on stream. And it still does look the same. In terms of like the daily time frame, there's not much of a difference. If we go back to that same chart from last night, pretty much, I mean, you could literally just look, it could go down this much and you could still say it looks similar, right? So that, again, I was talking about this last night. It's not like conventional technicals like I would use. I'm just saying that visually you have a very similar looking price action compared to March to May before you ran to all-time highs. I mean, you could just see that very clearly. So this thing, you know, this way of viewing the chart really shouldn't get affected too much unless CLOV like actually dumps, but maybe another red day, another 2 red days, like it really couldn't change much on this chart. So I'm not really too focused on this. That's pretty much the same idea for me. And I'm not really trading off of this as well. I mean, I only brought this up last night, right? I'm not even trading off of just this, but I just brought it up because it was a cool way to look at the price action compared to the past. And I still think the same thing. It looks very similar. I mean, technically this bottomed at 650 here, but yeah, not too much of a change looking at it like that. But if we go over to the other time frames, you got a little bit of you lost some bullish technicals, but you also started creating the chance for some new bullish technicals, if that makes sense. Now, in general, was I surprised that CLOV was down 6% today? Yes, I definitely will say so. I did not expect CLOV to be down 6% today. I mean, the only way I would have expected CLOV to be down this much today was if like the market just had a horrible day and the NASDAQ and the S&P and the Russell were flat. But yes, the ARK ETF was down 2%. A lot of other mid-cap growth stocks were down, but most of them weren't down like 6%, right? So CLOV definitely underperformed a lot more than I expected today. I'll definitely admit that. I didn't think that, I mean, I was open to having a red day today, but I definitely was surprised to see that it broke 760, first of all. And then, you know, after breaking 760, I wasn't surprised that it went down to 736. And I'll talk about that when we get over to the 4-hour chart. But yeah, definitely did catch me a little bit off guard today to see CLOV drop as much as it did. I don't think technicals really relayed that. I don't think the market relayed that. There were no catalysts that relayed that. I don't know why it happened, but it happened. And it's not, you know, I don't need to find a reason for everything. Sometimes things just happen. There might be a reason that we find out in the future, but again, there's going to be green days and red days. So yeah, definitely surprising there. In terms of what's going on with the technicals compared to last night, well, on the daily, you still have a potential for classic bullish divergence. However, since you had a red day and since the MACD is a lagging indicator, you're not currently developing your bullish divergence because you're not losing negative momentum. Now, again, if tomorrow's a pretty good green day for CLOV, then you're going to be developing it again. If it's not a green day for CLOV and it's just a pretty rough day again, then it might take a little bit longer, and then yeah. But in general, as long as the MACD doesn't come under that previous MACD, you're still eventually going to get bullish divergence on the daily. I would be genuinely surprised if this MACD island goes all the way back over here before just going back to green, because you're already at a much lower price and you barely have any negative momentum on the MACD. So in terms of the bullish divergence on the daily, it's being stalled out for now, but I still think there's a decent chance, pretty good chance it eventually confirms. I don't know when. You still have the hidden bullish divergence on the daily because you're about at the same low as your previous low, which is known as Class B hidden bullish divergence, where instead of making a higher low, you just made the same low, which is not as strong as Class A, which is just a higher low, but it still is bullish divergence unless it breaks it tomorrow. So if CLOV does go lower again tomorrow, then you do lose hidden bullish divergence on the daily RSI. But one other thing I noticed was on the daily RSI, you came down to this 39 level. When was the last time CLOV was at 39 on the RSI? It was at the Wyckoff Spring, right over here. You can see it, right? I'm lining it up. So that's just one thing to note. And then if we go over to the 4 hour, we were also looking at that RSI level on the 4 hour, which was 37. CLOV also closed right again at 37. The last like 3 times it got down to this RSI level, it bounced. You can see over here, it bounced. You can see over here, it bounced. So the RSI is at a historical bounce area right now. And then you got a little bit of a shift. If you remember last night on the stream, we had hidden bullish divergence on the MACD and RSI on the 4 hour, right? It looked something like this. You during last night's stream, you were at a higher low than 740, and your MACD island was green. And then today with the sell-off, the MACD island went back to red, so you lost your hidden bullish divergence. You no longer have that on the 4 hour. But what do you have now? You have a chance of getting, and again, this could take some time to confirm. Even if it does confirm, it's not even developing yet, but there is now a potential for classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour, on the MACD, and on the RSI. So you kind of shifted from confirmed hidden bullish divergence that literally did nothing over into potential classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour. And then on the 1 hour, you just lost the bullish divergence you had since it trended down. In terms of the 4 hour chart itself, we did close under the low from August 19th by 1 cent on the daily as well. You can see it pretty clearly. In general, you just closed around the same low from August 19th. I mean, it's the 1 cent difference. So yeah, I mean, that's really what kind of changed for CLOV. A little bit surprising to see how much it dropped today without any catalyst or even without much volume. I mean, it dropped 6% today on, I think, less than average volume. I don't know what the actual average volume is, but I think it's around 20 million and you had 18 million. Don't quote me on that. Let me see if I could find it. Average volume 28 million from the NASDAQ website. Yeah, so average volume according to the NASDAQ website is 28 million. So you had lower than average volume and you dropped 6%. So I don't know. It maybe just was a case of you might have just had a very large imbalance in supply and demand today. Maybe there was just people woke up and nobody wanted to buy CLOV, and the seller just might have just been eating away at the price all day. I don't know what was that reason for this drop, if there even was one, but that's what happened. And yeah, going into tomorrow, of course, I always talk about CLOV on the stream. When there wasn't any active swings, I was still talking about CLOV on the stream during this 50% run that we talked about since it was bottoming over here. That's when we started talking about Wyckoff. But again, there was a swing idea around 818. Right now, it's literally 1.5% away from the stop. So not the best edge. I'm not going to say edge, but not the easiest day tomorrow in terms of the swing. You know, if it just drops another 1.5%, then you're at the stop. Now, remember, in terms of how I run the swing sheet, and when I mark trades as stopped, it's based on the 4 hour and daily candle closes. So for me to put a trade as red on the sheet, it has to close under the stop level or at the stop level on the 4 hour and daily. But again, that's not a foolproof method because sometimes during the day you might drop a lot further below the stop. So I just use that because it helps a little bit with confirmation of actually if you broke that support or not. But just want to make that clear in case I still had this up on my chart tomorrow and we maybe went down to 7:29 in the morning, then we closed at 7:50 or whatever. Just so, maybe some newer people don't know that. But again, none of this financial advice. Again, even apart from the swing and whatnot, long term, I don't think today was much of anything for CLOV. I don't think it's a big difference for long term investors. And in terms of day trades, I mean, so far this week, if you're a premium member, on Monday we traded CLOV. It was 30% profit in 10 minutes. On Tuesday we traded CLOV. It was 30% profit in half an hour. And then today we traded CLOV and it was a failed trade. So yeah, we play calls on CLOV all the time in premium. Monday and Tuesday was pretty good. Despite yesterday being a red day, we still were able to get a nice 30% trade on calls yesterday. I think it was on maybe this bounce was yesterday 20. Yeah, so I think this was the bounce we played on calls. But yeah, today in the morning, it looked like it was trying to put in a little bit of a double bottom. It was testing the VWAP. There was some low time frame divergence, and then it broke 760. and that didn't really work out today. We did have a couple other trades, but yeah, 760. If I go back over to the 4 hour, it's just been that level that CLOV has been holding. I mean, it was already kind of on my chart, but you bounced off of 760-ish on July 19th, and you were holding that for like the last week and a half, and then today it finally broke under that 760 level, and then it went lower. You know, once it broke 760, that's when I was like, okay, yikes. So I wasn't surprised that it went from 760 to 735, but I was surprised that it did break 760. All right, so that's CLOV. Yeah. Again, last night on stream, I don't have too much of a different opinion. I still do think that, you know, if we look at that other chart, like this just looks so similar to that other run in May. So I still think that you could see a bottom soon for CLOV. But you did lose some bullish technicals. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. You always know. When you watch the stream, I'm going to tell you exactly what I see in the chart, bullish or bearish. You did lose bullish technicals today because you dropped 6%. That's a fact. So I will not ignore that. And then just finally to finish off the TA before we talk about probably maybe FSR next, but I also want to look at trading ticks. Bollinger Bands. Pretty far away from the daily Bollinger Band, but on the 4 hour, you're pretty much at the lower Bollinger Band. That's just the final thing I wanted to mention. The last, like, I think like we had a stat for this. We lined it up the other night, but I think like the last like 7 out of 8 times, something like that. I'm not going to count it again, but last 7 out of 8 times or something that you went to the lower Bollinger Band on the 4 hour, like over here, over here, over here, it did find a local bottom and you're there again. So that's one thing, but you're not at the lower Bollinger Band on the daily. That's all the way down at 690. So I don't know. Just wanted to bring that up as well. And then of course, I'm sure the historical IV is still really low on trading ticks. We can take a look at it. It actually went up a little bit today according to trading ticks. So might have just been because it went down 6%. So I guess it could work both ways. And then the options chain, the 15 calls grew a little bit. I think you got like 2,000 more in open interest, which is not a difference really. So not too much of a change in terms of options, honestly. But yeah, just telling you what's on the chart. Technicals are never certainty. We never claim for technicals to be certainty. So it's all about maximizing profits when technicals work and managing risk when technicals don't work. So yeah, let me see what's up in the chat. I want to talk about some other stuff. Then we'll talk about probably FSR and Lucid. And then we'll talk about Trip and Forward ongoing trades, and then we'll probably talk about Plug, which is not an ongoing trade anymore, but I guess it could be. It's depending on you. So what's up in the chat? I mean, is there anything going on there? Justin says, if this goes below 7, I am selling my car. Maddie played QQQ puts and calls. Yeah, you did a really, really good job. I know you shared it in the Discord. You did a really good job of playing the move today. The move today really confused me. I talked about when we were talking about the market, and I'm still a little bit confused, but Guillermo says, towards the end of the year, we will have a huge rally in the low and mid caps. The 2 to 5% soft and high caps will flow into them. 2 to 5% is billions of dollars. I talked about something similar a couple weeks ago. I did not say we will have. I said we could have. I don't know the future. But I do think that there are still a lot of small caps, mid caps that peaked out in February that I would just be surprised if they also sold off with large caps again and not, you know, showed any sign of strength. Like even if they do get red again, I do think, I mean, we've already been seeing it. You had large caps starting to sell off and small caps really haven't sold off, you know, as much as they typically have. When you see the NASDAQ down 2% this year, we've seen small caps get crushed and the IWM down 4%. But the IWM has been kind of showing some relative strength. It's still been red when the overall market's red, but not as much as we've typically seen this year. It's definitely, instead of vastly underperforming, which is what it's done pretty much since like March, now it's just kind of flattening out a little bit, okay? So, yeah. Hit that like button if you didn't already. Hit that subscribe button. Let me see how many subs we're at. 2453. We're at all-time highs on subs. So hit that subscribe button if you didn't already, and make sure to join the Discord. Links in the description. Also, you know, I don't ever talk about premium on the stream unless there's like a reason to. Like if I want to go over a trade from the day, or if there's some sort of a sale. There's not a sale right now. There might be a sale next month, but I still need to kind of figure it out. But again, I don't know. But again, there a little bit of an update, just if you're not in premium, or maybe if you are in premium and you didn't see today. So we talk about Trady Ticks, or we look at Trady Ticks all the time on stream. Love this platform, and I have a really good relationship with people who run it. And just reached out today, and I was able to secure the Bullseye bot for premium members. Now again, if you're not a premium member, there still is a whole entire 2 different Trady Ticks bots in the Discord that you can get for free, which are also paid. But this is another paid bot by Trady Ticks that I was able to get for premium members. So yeah, this one is Bullseye Trade. It kind of gives out, again, they're not financial advice, but just based on AI, artificial intelligence, just gives out, you know, many ideas: symbol, strike, expiration, call or put. And then it gives you a little bit of statistics on those options. So it's like literally an automated idea maker, but again, it's not financial advice. You still need to do your own research, but I was able to get this for premium members. So just another thing. I mean, I truly believe that nobody else for the price of like $1 a day in terms of like a group is offering this type of a bot that puts all these things together: a weekly watch list every single Sunday, day trades, options ideas, swing trades. So I really try my best to like just make it way more than the value in terms of like price. But yeah, I'm just trying to get together as many things as possible. As soon as I think of another way I can add to the value I'm putting out, whether premium or not, that's just kind of my goal. Just want to let everybody else know, in case you didn't know until now, unless you're in premium. But was able to get that. Shout out to Trady Ticks for hooking it up. Again, these are paid bots, right? And I'm not charging any extra to give this to any members. It's just a part of premium now. So I want to mention that as well. I might share in the Discord later, but that's always the first link in the description. That's something you're interested in. And let's talk about Fisker. So Fisker, it's down a few percent today. It actually backtested 1448, 1455, you know, that mid $14 level that was support from January. Backtested it today, had a 20-cent bounce off the level, but yeah, I mean, we talked about this last night, and even the night before we talked about how it was at the 200-day moving average. This was your next support, so it went to a resistance, and then it went to a support. Not surprising, especially when the market's being a little bit weird. So yeah, in the short term, I would just like to see Fisker hold this 1450 level. Again, it might just depend on the market, but if it does break, you still have a gap fill at 1371 that maybe acts as support. We'll see if it gets there. If not, if we are able to bounce off this level, I mean, that would be amazing. You're not overbought on the RSI. You don't really have divergence, but you don't have bearish divergence. So yeah, I just want to see it hold. I mean, on the 1 hour, you have a potential for hidden bullish divergence, actually. Look at this. On the 1 hour chart, it backtested the support. It was even a resistance in September, with potential hidden bullish divergence on both oscillators for Fisker. I don't know if I would call this a bull flag too, but maybe the argument could be made. Again, it's only on the 1 hour chart, so it's not like the 4 hour of the daily. But that's really it for Fisker today. I had a lot of people asking me about Fisker. That's really it. You know, we talked about it a couple nights ago. It's just retesting a level that it broke above. Hopefully it can hold it. If not, we'll see. Another one, this is not an ongoing trade, but Lucid, we talked about it last night. I think it was up like 5% after hours yesterday, and then today had a very nice move. I think it was up like 13% or something at one point. And we talked about this cup and handle where, look, it kind of broke the handle and then back tested it on the second 4 hour candle of the day. So that was pretty interesting to see. There's a little bit of a gap because it gapped up today, and it still is right under historical resistance. So I don't know, there's not even bullish divergence. It's just a very interesting chart. You know what I'm saying? It's not the cleanest chart in terms of how to manage risk, but it's just really cool. I'm just watching from the sidelines. I'm rooting for it, and it's just really cool to see how Lucid's moving. So nice move today. I mean, it gapped up, but it even went much higher than the gap up. So, I mean, if you just from like the open to the high of the day, it was up 7%. So made a nice intraday move, sold off a little bit in the afternoon. In terms of the ongoing trades, Trip might be back testing the supply line it broke out of. it is losing a little bit of momentum on the daily MACD, and it is under 36, so hopefully it can bounce off of the supply line. If not, then you got support at 32 for trip. That's really it. And then Ford had already hit the first target earlier this week, or I think on like Monday afternoon or Monday evening, but it's holding the gains pretty well. So hopefully you can just stay up here, maybe eventually get to the second target and the third target, but already hit the first target in a few days, which 12% move in a few days for a company like Ford is pretty impressive. And then finally, plug. Again, this is just how I run the sheet. I have certain rules for the sheet, like I was talking about the stop loss rule earlier. It's just how I run the sheet. So if a trade goes up, 10% since the entry, which this went up 13% since the entry, and it comes back down to the entry, I mark it as a break even on the sheet, because just the way I look at things, like if this trade was up 13%, even if you break even, you break even. It's like you were never in it. But it shouldn't be a trade going up 13% and then it goes all the way to the stop and it's like an 11% loss, right? But that's just, again, it's not for everybody. There's a chance maybe it comes into the red, it bounces off support again, then it eventually plays out. That's not financial advice just because I'm marking it a break even on the sheet. It's just how I run the sheet. So yeah, I'm not probably going to stop going over a plug unless it's like request and take request, because I had to mark it as a break even, so the swing's not ongoing anymore. But there's really not too much of a technical difference. It's just kind of pulling back more than I would have hoped for. But it still is above support. You are losing some momentum on the daily, and you probably still have hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. Yeah, you do. So not too much of a difference as long as it holds 24. Just again, there's certain sheet rules. No matter what the chart is or what the ticker is, I just have to follow the rules because I want the sheet to be very straightforward. If you don't know what the sheet is, then join the Discord, look at the announcements channel, and you'll find out what the sheet is. So yeah, futures still green, pulling back a little bit, it looks like, though. Russell futures definitely have pulled back a decent amount since I started streaming. You can take a look at that right here. It's a 5-minute chart for Russell. 2000 futures pulled back in the last half an hour or so. And yeah, it's pretty much a recap of the day. Not a crazy day, but a little bit confusing, honestly. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm definitely very happy we got over 50 people in the stream tonight. Typically on days like this, it's just like nobody's watching, and I feel like I'm just talking to myself. But I really do appreciate everybody showing up, regardless about what the market's doing, because of course there is a correlation between how my stream is doing and how the market's doing. But we are getting some divergence here. Maybe I'm being a little bit more better at not being boring. I'm not even going to say entertaining. I'm actually going to phrase that better at not being boring rather than saying entertaining, because it's more of education than entertainment. But yeah, the guy says there's like a hair in my eye, so that's why I keep touching it, but it's still there. It's like one of my eyelashes is just like blocking my view. The guy says, can we get some early streaming days stories? I don't really know what you mean by that, though. I mean, if I was streaming, then everybody would have seen it. I mean, there's definitely been some crazy events on the stream. This is really bothering me, my eyelash. I mean, we've had some crazy tips last December, January. Just like literally insane tips. In terms of stories, I mean, there's a bunch of inside things, like inside jokes. Back in like the days when I was starting off with Fisker, like definitely just talking about a bunch of Fisk related stuff. Then we had the when I first looked at solo on stream, that was super funny. That's when I coined the phrase egg car. But again, I'm not too sure what you mean by that. Like stories from when you first started streaming and it was just you and Cheddar in the chat. I mean, it was Cheddar, Rooster, Bala, Print. I'm forgetting a few people. I think Nerve was here since like around the start as well. Who else was like a day one? I'm trying to think. Like, I think it was October of last year. I'm definitely forgetting some people. Yeah, but I mean, the first few streams, you can go back, they're still on the channel. It was just kind of like me talking about charts. I mean, if you look at the first streams, like there was literally, like you see that chat box like right under me. The chat box was like empty the whole entire stream. So it felt like more of just like me recording a video than me live streaming. But that really wasn't a long time. It only took about a month until things really started like taking off, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, I mean, we could pull up one of the old streams before we get into take a request, just to like look at how things have changed. I just, in like the first few streams as well, I used to wear like really big like gaming headphones, because I didn't have this Mac. I had an Alienware laptop at that time. What's the best way to do it? But yeah, again, sorry for all of these videos. Wasn't necessarily my plan, but I think one of them did well. I think only one of them did well, which is like kind of sad, but again, some of these videos take a while to hit the algorithm, especially if they're shorts. Which one was it? Got like 600 views. This one, the Golden and Death Crosses video, did pretty decent. But yeah, let's just go over to playlists. And I'm never gonna make this playlist public, but let's go over to live streams. I think I could sort this, yeah. The first one, I didn't even have my face in it. I think it was like the second one I started putting my face in it. So let me put off the music. Just, we could go down a trip to memory lane really quickly. Let's see. No face, I don't think. Yeah, my face wasn't there. But like clearly this was how the stream overlay looked back in the day. Yeah. Let's go back. Let's go to like, probably I had my face on this one. So this is my 4th ever live stream. I got 3 likes on it right now. We're sitting at 60 likes. I mean, again, I always say this as much as I can. I'm so grateful. But yeah, we had 3. That was probably Rooster, Bala, and Prince who liked that stream. Oh, look, we had some people in here. We had X Cardiac and Tony T. I don't know if they're in the chat right now, but shout out to both of them. Let's see if I can put the audio on.
And you just broke over it again, which is definitely a good thing.
Oh, my face is, all right, 1 second.
You also bounced off of it in 2016.
Let me not move that.
So 224, which is like
How do I like move both these together?
25-30% away.
There we go.
Let me just double check on that. I don't want to say a random number.
But yeah, I used to, yeah, different room as well. I'm sure a lot of you remember that room. I had that. I was there probably to like March.
But yeah, it's about 20% away.
And even I changed my desk back then too, and I had the Champion Vibe poster behind me.
You already created hidden bullish divergence, which is led.
But yeah, I mean, it was just literally just talking and just nonstop technicals. Like again, chat was like pretty much empty for the most part.
At the end of September, and since then it's been in a steady uptrend. So I'm pretty sure that hidden bullish divergence.
And I don't think there was music then either. I can't remember. But yeah, let's get back over to the charts. Okay. Wait. Let me move this back because I'm gonna forget. There we go. Pretty much a flat open for Evergrande and the Hang Seng Index. All right, let's see what's in the chat really quickly. Maddie says, yo, I saw Champ's first ever stream. Man was so happy when he got his first comment in chat. Yeah. I mean, having like more than 5 viewers in like my first few streams was like the coolest feeling to me, like for real. Because again, it wasn't like I posted the streams anywhere else. Like literally I just hit the live button. I just hoped that somehow people would like show up to the stream. And somehow people did. All of you did somehow in one way or another. Mr. 90210 says, I really appreciate the heavy technicals, not boring to me, learning a ton. I wish more did this. I appreciate that. Alfredo says, don't apologize, mine, and give it time. I'm long on CV. Appreciate that. What happened to that room with the wood on the walls? It's right there. You see that door? It's on the other side of that door. All right. Mitch Ray. Oh yeah, we used to put Mitch Ray on the TV. I also put like NFL games on the TV sometimes. Yeah, we had the TV in the background. That was awesome. I just really can't put anything behind it because this wall is like down sloping. So I can't really like hang anything on that wall. I don't know, maybe I could, but... Alright, let's do take requests for the rest of the stream. If you want me to look at a ticker, drop it in the chat. And don't request anything up over 30% today. Don't request anything that IPO within last month. Nothing I say is financial advice. And we're probably not going to have time to get to all of them. I'll probably do this for about 20 minutes or so. So I'll just kind of see. Yeah. JG wants to look at FTM. There's actually a crypto called FTM, which literally went to the moon. So I think you mean that, unless you mean Duck Quan Investment and Development Joint Stock Company. I don't think you mean that. So we're gonna look at the FTM crypto. No, I know you were kidding, but I still want to look at the FTM crypto. Yeah, I mean, this thing went from 15 cents to like almost $2. FTM went up like over 1,000% in like 2 months. A little bit of a pullback right now though, but you got some hidden bullish divergence on the FTM. And maybe breaking out of a little bit of a consolidation phase right now. So hopefully the subscriber numbers start going back up. I don't know. I'm just joking. I'm really not. But yeah, trade desk. Testing a make or break area. This 67-ish level was a high from October of last year, a low from July of this year, and a low, kind of low from this month. I mean, it was your low today. I don't really see much of an edge here though. You're at a make or break area. I don't see a clear edge. Where's my why isn't that? Alright, there it is. So I don't know. Yeah, you're at a make or break area. Facebook. It's getting close to a support, 337.5 after breaking down from this upsloping channel. No divergence on the daily or the 4-hour. Yeah, that's really it. I mean, yeah, not a lot of data that can be created after you just kind of shifted trends, so it might take some more time, or at least for the short term. Same thing for this one. Again, you had, you know, a certain trend and you just started kind of turning around, and again, this might be the extent of the turnaround, but it still just needs more data because you don't really have much you can do right now, if that makes sense. I don't see a horizontal historical level at this price, and I don't see a pattern. A divergence is possible, but the MACD needs to start waning, and your RSI is just about oversold currently on A. MMAT, we talked about this. We talked about this little triangle it put in as it was happening. We even talked about MMAT over here when it was testing this major historical zone. We talked about it in July. We talked about it in August. Then it had this nice run up, and then it started putting this triangle pattern, which we talked about like a week and a half ago. It broke out of the pattern, and from the breakout, it went up like another 30%. And now it's being a little bit weird. It had a bearish engulfing candle today. It did close right out of support. 571 was kind of your previous resistance from the beginning of this month, and it was a high from March 3rd, and it was even a low from like these 2 days in June. So it kind of closed and tested this 570-ish level. That's your support. If it breaks that, then you got 483 as your next support, and then, you know, all the levels are charted. One other crazy thing on CEI today, I was looking at the chart. Look at that Fibonacci. Like, really, you have all the social media hype and everything and the squeeze and whatnot, and then where does it top out for the day? It combines all of those things together, And where does it top out for the day? At the 1618 golden ratio. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? For people who say Fibonacci is not real, I mean, this is as textbook as it gets. From this high to this low, you went up to your 1618, and right at your 1618, you pulled back 27%. And again, I don't know if this is actually the top. I'm not saying it is, but you did still pull back 28% off of that perfect golden ratio. There's no other historical level at that price. It was a Fibonacci level. It's an not imaginary, but it's not a visible level unless you make it one. And that's where it topped out today. Like literally perfectly. That was so cool for me to see. Watching from the sidelines. Also all-time high volumes on CEI. And it is actually above this zone at $3. But again, I mean, this thing just went up like 1,300% in like under 2 months. So that's insane. Just wanted to talk about how it hit that level. LAC, maybe a little bit of a cup and handle here with some potential hidden bullish divergence on the 4 hour if you ignore these little red islands. It's just testing this $20 area. We'll see if it can hold it or not. On the daily, yeah, I already talked about the cup and handle, so yeah, that's your chart for LAC. DM, the trend is not your friend right now. Maybe a little bit of a falling wedge. I mean, you could try this a few different ways. I think it's way too deep to even be a crab, but we'll see. Actually went deeper than the 6 one over here, so not really a formal harmonic. I mean, actually, you had a 0.7 retrace from X to B, but look at this. You went down to the 1618 roughly from X to D, and the 3618 from B to D. You had a 25% bounce off of it, and now you're back at that level. So I don't know. Yeah. And then your MACD is just kind of, you're making lower highs and higher lows on your MACD is just kind of being neutral. Those are your levels on desktop metal. And then Wish, new all-time low today. Trend is also not your friend right here. I think the lump shared it as like a falling wedge kind of. Still could be just against the supply line of this falling wedge. You got some bearish convergence, which means a lower high on the MACD, a lower high on the RSI, and a lower high on price. Not really deep enough for a deep crab yet. And those are your levels on Wish. Then charge point. Testing the support. We talked about this a couple nights ago. It bounced off of it yesterday and then it pulled back today. I just want to see charge point hold above 1950. It bottomed off of that 4 times already this year. Volume is starting to pick up again after being really dry from like July to August. And yeah, I just want to see it hold it. I mean, it's only a 3 to 5% room till support from where it currently is. So we'll see if it can bounce off the support again or not. XLRN, there's not much I can do here. This thing just went up a lot. You know, this is where I prefer to look at things when they're consolidating before the large moves, right? Because look at this. You had an inverse head and shoulders. Look how beautifully it's played out. I mean, it definitely did not hit textbook targets. It exceeded them. Well, it hit them, but it exceeded them. But look at that. You know, these are the areas where I look at stuff. And then look, I mean, look how textbook this is. Inverse head and shoulders, break the neckline, back test the neckline, and then send it. Obviously, I mean, the measured move of this was much lower. It was like literally like nothing. It was pretty much like the top of the range, which, I mean, that's if I were playing this as an inverse head and shoulders, I would have targeted that. Honestly, I wouldn't have targeted all the way up here. I don't know if there was a catalyst for this move, but I mean, that was like perfect. A measured move, lining up with the historical resistance, and then it hit that level, and then it just kept going crazy. At this point, I don't really know. On the time frames I'm looking at for the purpose of the stream, there's not much you can get out of, you know, a thing that just went up. A stock just went up 50% in like 20 days with like no sort of like retracements or patterns, just literally straight up until today, which did paint a 4-hour bearish engulfing candle and a daily bearish engulfing candle. But again, I don't know. I don't really think technicals matter too much right now for this. Any is at this support area, 568, potential hidden bullish divergence, but the MACD needs to start waning. Top of the range is 763. That's literally it. Josh Stewart says, you must be doing something right or people wouldn't be coming back. Yeah, that's 100% true. So I appreciate the kind words. But definitely, I can tell when the vibes are a little bit different. Because they're different for me some nights, right? You know, when I don't have a good day in the market, it's a little bit, not tougher, but not as fun to stream. But I don't know. I just try and stay in the middle at all times in terms of how my emotions are with trading. You know, whether it's like the best day ever or one of the worst days ever, I just try and be a robot. I don't try and think too much about how I should feel about how my trades are doing, how my portfolio is looking. I try my best, and feeling super excited or super frustrated doesn't really help in my opinion. So I just try and like stay in the middle. There's no way to do it. I mean, you can never be perfectly unemotional in trading. You're always going to have emotions to some extent. But I just try and control my emotions as much as possible. But yeah, I mean, there's always the waves. We talked about the whole entire year. We have the waves for the stream, for just everything. But yeah, keep hitting that like button if you're not subscribed to that subscribe button. I don't have time to do all the other tickers I see in the chat, so I'm just going to pick and choose some. We'll look at Netflix. We'll look at Neo. We'll look at AMD. We'll look at FUBO. So yeah, I think those will be the final four of the night. I'm sorry for all the ones I missed, but I gotta wake up early tomorrow. Did you break your stream watch record the other night with Tar Heel? No. We hit the record recently though. We hit the record. It was either I think it was the end of August or beginning of this month. We had, if anybody remembers, we had like 180 people watching live, which was the record. Before that, I think the record was like 140, 150. It was when Muslim Trader was on the stream back in like February talking about Lucid. But we've probably had like maybe about 15 to 20 streams with 100 plus viewers. Then we probably had like 50 to 60 streams with like 80 to 90 viewers. And I'm talking about like the peak viewers. Then we probably had like 100 streams with like 60 peak. And then probably had like 35 to 40 streams with like a 30 peak, which was pretty much probably when I started streaming. And then in the beginning of like the end of April going into May, the stream was very quiet. I'm sure some of you were around then, but yeah, it was a little bit rough to stream then. You know, after having a crazy, you know, move up on the viewership numbers for like 4 months in a row, and then April hit, and yeah, it was rough for like a month and a half, and then it started picking up again, and now I think we're in a really good place right now, and I'm really grateful for how everything's going right now. But even in the last like week and a half, like things have slowed down, which could be related to the market, which is related to the market. Unless I got super boring all of a sudden. Hopefully not. I've been actually putting more effort in. Tonight I'm a little bit tired, so I am putting in effort because I'm charting, but I'm not like, you know, putting a bunch of segments together and, you know, having a guest and doing back to the future themes and looking at a bunch of different data sources, like how I've been trying to do for the past couple of weeks. But yeah, hard work does pay off. Yeah, I mean, it is not easy doing, how many streams? I think I've done like over 200, between 200 and 250 streams in the last year. And that's like probably around like 300 hours of streaming. So yeah, it takes a lot of effort, but it's always worth it. And I truly enjoy it. I would not be streaming if I didn't enjoy streaming. So yeah. Netflix, it broke out of a range. It back tested the range. Now it's running again. If you want Fibonacci resistance, there it is. in terms of support, 575 is the strongest support I see. Neo is in a little bit of a falling wedge. Did it not save? I just charted it. All right, there we go. It has triple classic bullish divergence and a falling wedge. Didn't mean to do that. Let's do that. So triple classic bullish divergence and a falling wedge, and it's right around this double bottom support from March, like 34. So looks really interesting right now. You know, if you want to look at it like this though, kind of maybe is a little bit extended to be a Gartley as well, but it's not too far away from a Gartley. So yeah, I mean, you have certain edges right now on Neo, but we'll see though. I mean, again, this could underperform if the market doesn't do well, but that is Neo. AMD, hidden bullish divergence is possible but not really developing for right now. Pretty much like a downsloping channel or a falling wedge is being created. I would just like to see it hold above 99, that previous all-time high, and your low from September 20th. And then final one, FUBO. Somebody requested this on Twitter today. I can see it's going a few different ways. 2250 is the support, so it's pretty close to testing that. We'll see how it reacts to it. It was a resistance in May, a resistance in May of 2020. So 2250 is support. If it just blows right through that support, then a bullish bat is possible if it gets down to 1725, 24. If it stops selling off and it somehow reclaims over this $25 level, then maybe a retest 200 moving average. But there's a lot of potential angles you can look at FUBO's chart right now. All right, so thank you so much for watching the stream. I'm so tired. It's been a long day, a little bit frustrating, but that's how it is in the market sometimes. So yeah, Bitcoin at 43K now. Pretty nice move for Bitcoin in the last hour. But yeah, just a reminder, if you weren't here in the beginning part of the stream, I was able to secure the Bullseye bot for premium members today. I didn't, you know, I don't know if I want to talk about it right now, but it's not of an extra charge to people who are already premium members. If you were to sign up right now, it's not going to be an extra charge. This is a paid bot, but TradyTix always hooks it up, and I can't even pronounce the name sometimes, which is so awful. But yeah, I was able to secure this. So really excited. I think the bot's going to go live tomorrow in the premium channels. And yeah, so excited to see what the bot does. And that's the first link in the description. Just another thing I was able to get in to the premium section. But of course, the Discord in general is an amazing resource, whether you're in premium or not. So the link's in the description. Neutron Flux Labs, just drop the link in the chat. Thank you for all the support. Have a great night, everybody, and peace out.
In the palm of your hands, you still might drop it. And everybody wanna reach inside your pockets. I tell them red light, stop it. Shit, that give me more headaches than alcoholics. There was nothing in my wallet, just a lot of dreaming. I built a crib on top of the promised land, we'll call it even. I bring more flavor than all the seasons. Winter, spring, summer, fall. The grass is always greener till I cut it all. Please lead me to my studies. I give you no applause. My hand's been counting money and it's hard to be the boss, but somebody gotta do it.
Make it so exhausting.
Often with the bullshit, and baby I've been through it. Enough for the both of us, so come over later and we won't let no one close to us. We could be posted up. Yeah. Okay, well you could have the world in the palm of your hands, you still might drop it. And everybody wanna reach inside your pocket, so it goes. every conversation we the topic. This narcissism more like narcotics, so it goes. Well, everybody gather round. I'm still standing, sit down. Whoa, oh. And I know I've been out. But now I'm back in town. Show you the ropes. So goes, so goes, so goes. La da da da, la da da. La da da da, la da da. So goes. La da da da, la da da. La da da da, la da da. So goes. Well, this is a special delivery, coming to you live with the endless artillery, always down the ride. My eyes on the Enterprise. 9 lives, never die, fuck a heaven, I'm still getting high. Never mind. Did I mention I'm fine? Cause her pussy getting wetter when the weather dry. Clementine peeling off and everyone get left behind. I'm only 5'7", except I'm feeling like I'm 7'5". Damn it, cross planets, interstellar, Neverland. Not a Jackson packed with action, so what's happening, my man? No relaxing, kicking back, just ain't exactly in the plan. I can't get no satisfaction, goddamn. They saying I've been gone too long. I could just tell them fuck you, but that come on too strong. My God, it go on and on, just like a circle. I go back where I'm from. Everybody gather round.